So Adrian, take me back. This is a question a lot of people have asked me about, feelings about Kennedy's assassination.
Oh.
So take me back at Sunnyvale High School. It's Friday, November 22nd, 1963, and you got the news about the president's sad passing. Take me through that day.
Very excellent question, because it made an indelible mark on many people's lives. I shall never forget it. Because I had to be the one to tell 2,000 students that the president was assassinated. Excuse me. Anyway, the news came to me, and I was shocked, of course, and such a great president. And so I went on the PA system and asked the teachers to play that told the student body that president has been assassinated. And it's a sad moment for all of America. And I suggested to the teachers that they cancel the instruction of the day and spend time working with students and not everyone in small groups to discuss it. Even let them go outside and sit on the senior lawn one night. And it was just a horrible day. And I then sent for the buses and asked them to come over and pick the students up to go home. Some parents had heard about it, the assassination, and came over to pick their children up, and some of them walked home, everyone with teary eyes. So I think I wrote in the 63 book about it's not what you can do for your country, it's not what you can do with what you can do for your country. And
it's actually, this is the yearbook, and it is the memoriam, and yeah, that was a harsh time.
Yeah, it was, and I was so proud of the student body because they showed their true red, white, and blue.
In my opinion, Adrian, there's certain pivotal points in life. 9/11, most recently in the last decade and a half, was a pivot point. And for me, and for just about everybody I know, that was a pivotal point. There was an innocence lost that day.
Yeah.
And some people call it Camelot, with Jackie and John Kennedy, but it was staggering.
Yeah.
It was staggering on that whole weekend.
Oh,
but, that was a tough time.
Yes.
So I'm going to go through
yes.
on a lighter note.
Okay.
Since you were born and you were alive during these presidencies,
yes.
I'm just going to throw out. We'll start with the name, and then you just give me a 10-second your thoughts. So Woodrow Wilson, 1913 to 1921.
Well, I don't have much memories, and as I said, like, we grew up in a very bad times, and as a matter of fact, we didn't have a book in our house to read. The only books we had was at school. Consequently, I got much of my formal education after the early life, and I know little about Woodrow Wilson, as I remember my mother talking about him, and that he seemed to be a good president. And but my memories really of the presidents come a little later.
Well, we'll jump forward to Roosevelt. President Roosevelt, very influential.
Well, now I can talk.
Now we're talking.
I was living in Miami, and I never forget it. I think he was first elected in 1932.
Well, I've got him 33 to 45.
Yeah, and That's before I left town in 1940. And my mother, I remember, was very fond of Franklin Roosevelt. And I have much to say about him. It's my opinion. I think he did a world of good. There are people looking back on history think he was leaning towards communism or socialism. Mm-hmm. Well, we who grew up in it didn't think that, because he started all the alphabets. Federal administration and CC camps.
Oh, you called it the alphabets?
Yeah. Everybody had part of those, there were many of them. But looking back in history,
yeah.
They were, I think it kind of saved America from further depression.
Sure. And
when World War II came, it pulled America out of the hole. But Franklin D. Roosevelt, however socialistic some people may think he to be, I think living in that era, that he saved a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And was a very good president.
We'll jump right next to Truman. Truman was 45 to 53.
Yeah. Now, I'm getting older now, so I know a little bit more about it.
We're gonna get right. You're right up to Obama here.
Oh mercy!
Oh mercy! Oh, sorry about that. So we'll go with Truman here.
Truman, yeah. I was at Chico State College during the Truman era, and I shall never forget when he was running against Dewey of New York, Truman being a Democrat. And I was taking economics at the time, and I'll never forget the professor asked, the election was the next day, he says, how many of you think Truman should be the next president? And how many think he shouldn't be? Unanimously, he shouldn't be president, not Truman. Stu Dewey should be elected.
That was his first name, Stu?
Thomas Dewey.
Oh, Thomas.
And New York. And a good man. But the world was shocked. Even the Chicago Tribune had printed a paper today.
Held up the headline. What does it say? Dewey defeats Truman.
Yeah.
A picture that will live on.
So the next day in class, or whatever it was, the professor came in. He told us that at the time,
yeah,
that Truman was going to win. And he kind of looked laughing at us. Said, I told you.
I told you guys. Let's jump to Ike Eisenhower.
Ike Eisenhower, of course, I'm very fond of, because I was one of his soldiers. Not much of one, but one.
Bada boom.
And I'm very proud of him. And I was so happy he won the presidency, because not necessarily how well he was qualified to run the government, but he certainly was qualified to run the army to victory. And the organization he built, and soldiers and the generals and all. So I voted for him. And so then he took the office, and he made some changes, major. One was the master highway system.
Mm-hmm.
That's why interstate. That's why I believe that he was responsible for back home here for building Highway 5 from San Diego to Oregon border, I believe. And some say that that was done because of the fear of atomic bomb, and they want to get people out of the more populated areas. But more than that, it was a highway much needed.
Yeah.
I like prejudiced.
So the next one, you got emotional when we talked about him, but President Kennedy did a lot of good for the country.
You know, it's hard to evaluate Kennedy, in my opinion, because he's in office such a short period of time.
Right.
But he had good forward-looking ideas. Very brave for when the Soviet Union tried to arm Cuba, and he took a stand against it, would put the atomic bombs back on the ships and take them back to Russia, which they did. And he died much too soon. And people nowadays would still rate him among the best, though he was only in office a few months. But I liked him. He was a great speaker. Deliveries were great, and I liked his ideas.
Then Johnson sadly had to take over.
Johnson was surprised to me the way it turned out.
Yeah.
Because he was supposedly, he learned even later, that he's one of the best politicians that was ever in Washington.
Kennedy needed him to carry the election.
Yes, that was a good transfer. Yeah. But he was a little different than Kennedy in style, and he was able to get people together. Yeah. And so he did a really good, particularly with the social movement.
Exactly.
Given equal rights. He was very good at that.
And then on to Mr. Nixon.
Mr. Nixon.
Who, in my opinion, the 5 o'clock shadow and the squinty eyes during the debate.
Yeah.
He wins the debate on the radio, but he loses on TV.
That's exactly
But he bounces back in '68. Your opinions?
Okay. Before he was elected president, he was, I think, a representative and assemblyman in California.
Right.
And this may be of some interest. So I was heavily involved with the Chico State alumni, and
Go Wildcats.
And he was coming up to Shasta High, not high school, but Reading, to campaign. And I just went to see what he had to say. And so I thought at the time he might be a qualified president. Time went by another couple of years. I had the opportunity, as my contacts in northeastern California, to be a campaign manager for him in that part of California. And I was back in Washington with my sister, and she knew a lot of people in D.C., so she set me up with an interview to meet him. And he said, well, it would be in northeastern California where you're known. And then I said, yeah, I've got a son that needs help, and I can't be leaving him, so I turned it down. Overall, it was a disappointment, because I thought the dishonesty and things of that nature, some things he probably did quite well, but he left in disfavor, and I lost my trust too.
Do you do a good Dick Nixon impersonation?
I
am not a crook.
And all the while he was.
And all the while he was. So then we jumped to, he got the boot, he got on a helicopter and left, and then Ford came in.
I had a chance to meet Ford, and as a matter of fact, Dick Henning was
the legendary Dick Henning.
Yeah, as he was, I gave Dick a sport job, not I, but others as well, in 1960. He was a student teacher at Sunnyvale. He was hired as a teacher and speech drama, and then later in life he went to Foothill College as a teacher, and he started a celebrity forum
Fantastic.
Palo Alto, and as a result of our close relationship, he started that we're bringing the top speakers from around the world. And in 1967, I think, I said when he went to Foothill and college, and as a close relationship, he would invite me to every one of the 48 years now of the speaker. I couldn't go at all for various reasons.
Sure.
But as a result, I met some of the prominent ones in the green room, one of whom was Jerry Ford. And so I used to play jokes with Dick. Henry Kissinger, I'd call him the next day and I'd pretend to be Henry Kissinger.
Oh, okay, I want to hear your Kissinger accent.
I said, "Hey, do, may I speak with Dr. Henning, please? And the secretary said, it's Henry Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger on the line.
Yeah, and I said, he said, hello, Mr. Kissinger. What? How are you? And he said, I said, I got you again, Dick. I got you. Well, now that brings us to Jerry Ford. So on Jerry Ford, after that speech, I tried to imitate Jerry Ford, who was a golfer, avid golfer, you know, and always playing out of the rough. And so I got on the phone and this is Henry Ford.
Gerald Ford.
Jerry Ford.
If you're a Henry Ford,
I'm trying to be a model at once.
well, you're a model principal, but not a Model T.
No. Well, the kick line here was Dick thought it was.
He thought it was Gerald Ford.
And he said, "What do you want to? You clumsy."
Yeah. He always will pratfalls.
Yeah, and he says, "I got you this time, Adrian. I got you." And
You have a fantastic sense of humor.
Jerry Ford then turned out to be a fairly good president, and I think most people recognize it.
Then the peanut salesman came up.
Oh, that's another question.
Jimmy Carter.
I'll be very honest. I'm proud of him for the way he got the presidency. I had questions about his experience in government and his philosophy. Easy going, and the world's not that way.
Yeah.
You got to be tough. You can't give it away.
Well said.
And so.
I think you're hinting at the Iran hostage.
Exactly, I am.
Yeah.
Which was a very low blow in American history. It's we got thinks he has enough men and materials to go in and fly these helicopters and then drop men and get up prisoners back. They didn't even hardly made it to the ground. We were so ill prepared.
Yeah.
And that was a bad. And so a nice, great guy. I had occasion to meet him. Not a great guy, but not the greatest president.
And then the actor, Ronnie Reagan.
Oh, I got a good one there for you. I have his picture there on the wall, autograph. And I thought he was a great president overall. A great president. He spoke honestly.
Did you say he was a great president wearing overalls? You're giving him an overall ranking of good.
He only put the overalls when he was back to his farm in California.
Yeah. He had great hair.
Yeah.
And he never colored it, all the way to the end.
I like
wink, wink.
He told it like it was, and a great all
right, I'll test your knowledge. What was his great line that he said to Gorbachev?
Oh.
Mr. Gorbachev,
yeah.
take down that wall. Hey, wait a minute. Was it Gorbachev? Who was it?
Yeah, it's Gorbachev.
Yeah, take down that wall.
That's one of the greatest moments in history.
Yeah.
Whether that had an effect on taking down the wall, but it was a great spirit.
Sound bites. We're all about sound bites.
Yeah. I had the occasion of meeting him too. As a matter of fact, I was a citizen diplomat here in Saratoga to the Soviet Union, and some other great experiences of my life, because it was keeping the politicians out of it. It's citizen to citizen. It became a national movement after a while.
One-on-one.
And we visited many parts of the Soviet Union. And one of them was in northern port, the borders Finland. And so two couples had us as their guests, overnight guests, in their homes. And we had a very frank discussion about American. They loved America. And they asked me, they said, how do you like Gorbachev? I says, I love Gorbachev. Why do you love Gorbachev? I said, one for Gorbachev, one for you, here to see you, Glasgow. And I said, well, how do you like, we don't like Gorbachev. Why don't you like Gorbachev? Because he promised we'd be like America. Anyway, I told him, it's going to take you years. Gorbachev's a vehicle to take the next step.
That's fine.
Hopefully someday you'll get the free enterprise system.
So you're in Russia.
Yeah.
You're traveling through Russia.
Yeah.
Are you thinking back in like 1960s when we were fearful of them? How did you feel when you were? Is this something I can't believe I'm actually here?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a tremendous enlightenment and great experience. We had an in-tourist as a translator all the way through.
That's true for the language.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you one of the first night there, we had 4 on the steering committee. 25 of us went from the Saratoga area, but 4 got to go to the inside with the big shot because we were the original. And so the first night, the second night we were there, they were down at Nauchik, down near the Baltic Sea, and so interesting, the president of Nauchik didn't sit at that table. I was the oldest guy, and I was president of the Chamber of Commerce here.
Nice.
So I sat at the front head table with the uncle, who's the head of the socialists down there. And so he had the honor, and I had the honor. He lifted his toast to vodka. He says, welcome. I hate America. I never saw an American, but I don't like Americans.
Nice toast.
No, the toast next.
You're next.
I told him, I said, I thanked him, you know, and for the invitation, how much we love meeting that people, you know. I says, and we love you country. We think you have citizens are wonderful. And anyway, to advance forward at the end of that tour, the president had us at his home, and so now I'm going to give the toast again.
Here we go.
Soviet says, I never met an American. Now I met America. I love America.
I love America. Adrian Stanga turned him around.
Not because of me.
It was the vodka talking.
Yeah.